Today we have a very special guest joining us, the founder and CEO of Start Left Security, my friend and boss, Jeremy Vaughan.
Hey, Brutus. Thanks for having me on the show.
I know you are busy, but did you get a chance to check out the Ron Gula podcast?
Loved the podcast, Ron Gula. Loved, very insightful. It was very fun. I love what you're doing with popping characters and new things in there. So it was very enjoyable, very exciting.
So let's jump right to it. What the hell is ASPM?
Yeah, ASPM is a little bit confusing. I think companies have been caught up on CSPM, Cloud Security Posture Management. And that's the shift left strategy. It's still to the right. And really what we're trying to do here is it's about product. It's product security, to simplify it down. We're at the end of the day, we're trying to create a security and resilience mechanism around products or applications. So cloud security, API security, those things all the way to the right are just a few elements of product security, but they're not contextualizing to the entire product lifecycle. And so there's a lot of security measures that are being left out of the conversation, which frankly, if you look at it from a developer perspective, we're using a lot of open source technologies. We're using our own custom code. We're using CI/CD pipelines. And what does that mean? It means we're using a lot of tools. And so on any given product team, there can be 10 to 40, 50 tools. That includes code, open source languages and libraries. There's a lot of things that are going on one product team. And so at the end of the day, companies, our revenue, it's dependent on the product. It's not dependent on the infrastructure. The infrastructure is one thing. Again, we want to protect the product. The product is consistent of tools, people, technologies, code, and the infrastructure. And so I think where ASPM is going, or Application Security Posture Management, is covering that entire life cycle in all of the things. And if we're just talking about a couple elements, we're not actually solving the problem.
Let's ask our audience, did any one of you understand one word that came out of his mouth? If you are still confused, let me confusing even more. Jeremy, tell the audience, what is a Frankenstack?
Frankenstack is all the tools I'm talking about. So again, on a product team, could be 10 tools, 40 tools, whatever. The Frankenstack is, let's just say it, the enterprise strategy, which is shift left. Or I'll call it traditional cybersecurity strategy. We would need to buy tools or point solutions to solve or band-aid problems. Well, that's creating the Frankenstack. That's creating a lot of inefficiencies, a lot of costs, a lot of chaos and complexity. And so when you try to extract the data from those tools, we have to rely on practitioners or very technical people to go into those tools and figure out what's going on. That's a problem, right? And so if we're logging in on any product team to 30 to 40 tools trying to understand what's going on, you're not going to get any insight. So what's necessary is an overlay of all the tools to take those tools and get insight from the Frankenstack and also consolidate the Frankenstack. The Frankenstack, again, is the old way of doing things and just throwing point solutions at problems, as opposed to doing a programmatic approach to solving security in the modern way of software development.
Sounds like you don't like weird people that are created in rooms and animated? Never mind, we won't even go there. That's enough babbling about the industry. Don't make me stab you with one of my horns. So tell the audience, what does Start Left Security do with all this?
Let's go back to application security or product security posture management. There's a journey to achieve a comprehensive platform in that regard. So the industry started with aggregation and correlation. So I think Gartner called it ASOC.
Geez, oh, Pete's more acronyms. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, application security orchestration and correlation, which is kind of the first stage. So you're orchestrating these scanning tools, you're correlating it, and that's kind of stage one of achieving a holistic platform. Then you get into analytics and threat detection. So that's kind of stage two. Like, how can we apply more analytics, more correlation and more detection in one place with more tools. And then the third stage I would say that we're starting to see in maturity is these platforms starting to build their own tools that are integrated or seamless within one platform. So when we say tools, you go out to the marketplace. There's SCA or software composition analysis. There's SBOMs or software bill of materials. Those two combined can create with the analytics can create software supply chain security. And what does that mean? Software supply chain security is not just the tools. It is those tools combined with things like other threat intelligence feeds, about the authors. Are they threat actors in nation states? And then also what we see is missing is insider threat, right? So what has gotten a lot of companies here recently is stupid things like turning a code repository from private to public. That lives in the practitioner tool at the Git repo. Nobody knows when that happens up in management or leadership. Those are the types of threat detection or insider threat detection that needs to happen. So when we talk about software supply chain security, it is building resilience around the tools and the people also that are building and maintaining these products, right? And then you start to apply other things like more product security features, like your SAST or static application security, your DAST, dynamic application security, correlating that information and those findings and holding people accountable to managing the results of those findings. Then you can start getting into more advanced security topics like IAST and RASP, API security, next-gen web application firewalls, cloud security. So taking all of those things and wrapping them around a product team in CI/CD is really what we're trying to do and what we're talking about here.
Okay, now we are getting somewhere. It sounds like it has to do a lot with people and animals, I might add.
A lot to do with people. And so the biggest assumption is that we see from like CISOs is, okay, I bought that tool, right? And just because I bought that tool, I assume that that tool is being deployed. That tool is being operational. That tool and the findings of those tools are being worked on. It's the biggest assumption that is putting most companies at risk. So what we tend to find is a tool is typically misconfigured or has been turned off because it's not working within the software development process, and developers get upset about it. So the thing that needs to happen is driving that accountability, driving that governance with these tools. And then really, you mentioned people is how do we empower people that are using these tools to get better? So also the biggest assumption there too is making developer security experts is going to be an easy thing, right? And so traditionally, it's been a Band-Aid approach of let's just give developers code snippets in the IDE of, hey, you created this vulnerability, here's how to fix it. That's not actually solving the problem. And here at RSA, I've been validating that. It's all the InfoSec people, all the application security or product security people are like, yeah, we need a better way to ensure that we can do more with less. Well, what does more with less actually mean? It means empowering the workforce that you already have to be better at what they're doing. And so also RSA, we're talking to secure code training folks, and that is empowerment. How do you actually correlate, personalize, contextualize just-in-time training to developers that are actually creating those risks right now, right? So now if I create a risk or a vulnerability, I'm actually getting personalized training about that vulnerability that I just created. Now I can learn to not create that thing anymore. And that's really the people empowerment and taking advantage of what's out there and then helping your teams get better as they're doing their work, right? And so that's really the do more with less and taking advantage of how do you make your people better. All right, listen, Brutus, I know I throw a lot at you, but look at it this way. Traditional AppSec or application security is frankly very expensive. It's almost cost prohibitive to scale a boatload of point solution AppSec tools across your organization. A lot of these tools were built and priced for enterprise companies, and they don't even scale for enterprise, most of them. And so what we're trying to do is be able to consolidate a lot of these tools in one platform. And also what we're trying to do is bring down the costs of product security or application security for everyone, to be able to protect their software, but also to be able to scale all of these products and tools across their entire organization. And so if a company or if an AppSec tool is too cost prohibitive, I like to say there's an 80-20 rule. 20% of the portfolio of software is being covered, 80% is not. Well, that's what's getting companies in trouble. You saw that in Equifax, you saw that in many other organizations over the last couple of years. So being able to do that in one platform focused on empowering your people in existing workforce, but also not just allowing it to live in the practitioner level. If you do a platform approach, you can have this all in one place and provide value, tracking, accountability, governance for everybody. And what does that mean? Not just security, not just developers, also pulling in GRC people. And what's missing is the management and leadership teams. How do, as a CEO, do you know how your program is performing? How are you validating the ROI of all these tools and the activities that your people are doing, right? And so providing the analytics, providing things like security scoring, things like that allows people to communicate and collaborate in a way around product security that has never been done before. And so at RSA, I've been asking questions like, why aren't people doing product security? Why aren't people doing application security the way that that we should be doing? And the most consistent answer I'm receiving is there's so many tools. It's so confusing. We don't know how to do it. We don't know how to scale these things and actually do a program around product security. Cybersecurity tools or platforms they've come out. There's pretty good approaches on traditional cyber on platforms, right? But nobody's done that on the product security approach. And so consistently at RSA, they're like, if we just had a way to kind of wrangle up all of this data and deploy a program perspective approach to product security, that simplifies. And so that's precisely what we're doing and driving the cost down. And what does that mean? Driving the cost down allows you to either purchase more tools or purchase more services from MSSPs or hire more people, because ultimately it's about people. People need to manage and remediate these issues. And if you're just blasting them with more vulnerabilities, that doesn't solve the problem. And so if we can help drive the cost down, create efficiencies, then people are going to get better and you're going to be able to manage the risks of your software. And that's ultimately what we're trying to do.
That actually makes sense. I think I'm finally starting to get it. Do you have any inspiring stories about being an entrepreneur that you want to share with our audience?
You know, what's really cool is I ran into an investor last night at an event at one of our current VCs, Litical. And this investor gave me a really, really, really hard time. This is a few years ago. And we had a really heartfelt conversation last night. And he was like, man, I'm glad you stuck through this. I'm glad to see you here. I'm so happy that you have taken my advice and you've taken other people's advice. And this particular investor, we connected really well, and he was hard on me. But he gave me a lot of good advice. And what was really cool last night is he said, your personal story around your daughter has stuck with me this entire time. He said, I tell other founders about you. I tell other founders, you need to find your why. And because several years later, Jeremy, I'm sure that why is why you're still sticking it out. And so I agreed. I got a little teary-eyed, and he's like, "Listen, when you guys go to raise your next round, please let us know because we're in." And so it was incredibly validating and special that somebody remembered us from several years ago, picked me out of the crowd, and came up to me and just had a really cool conversation. And so that meant a lot to me. And that also shows the power of the cybersecurity community, how small it is and how supportive of we are with each other. And so experiencing things like that at RSA and other events is really awesome. And that's why I continue and focus on solving these problems.
Let me be honest with you. Our team is a bunch of animals, but we want to learn more. How can we know more about what you're up to?
So yeah, we're definitely on LinkedIn, Start Left Security, and we have our website, which is always evolving. We will be having a new website here coming out soon that I think will simplify and make things more concise on what we do. startleftSecurity.com. And then you can always reach out to me on LinkedIn. I get a lot of messages and I'm happy to answer. I do a lot of blog posts. We're doing a lot of video releases on our YouTube channel. So stay tuned for a lot more content and ways to understand software security, product security.
Yeah, I know a little bit about LinkedIn. I have my own profile up there. I will probably beat you with my followers in like a couple days or something. So I know you are live at RSA right now because my producers are motioning that it's time to wrap it up.
Yes, we are going to go hit the floor, see if we can meet some cool people, see if we can run into some partners and maybe some of our investors, and get some video, we'll get some pictures, and we'll have a good time.
Where are we, Jeremy?
Hey, we're at the RSA Expo floor. Look at all this chaos and complexity from all these vendors.
Look at this. Where are we going?
We're gonna find some tools.
We have to start left. Microsoft Security.
Cheers.
What are you guys up to?
Cheers.
Talking strategy, go to market with Secure Code Word.
Right.
It's great. Yeah, we love being part of your guys' program for education for developers and shifting this conversation even further left.
Yeah.
Start left.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. That's key.
Well, this has been a great interview. I am excited about the future of not just our company, but our entire security industry that is working relentlessly to solve our nation's security risks together. Till next time, Jeremy, or till bonus time. Thank you. And everyone, this was another Bullpen podcast brought to you by The Herd. If you haven't heard, well, get your damn ears checked and listen up. Till next time, Brutus is out.